Hey everybody, and welcome to the long-awaited Zone 3 tutorial video for Crypt the Necrodancer. I apologise for the delay in getting this uploaded. I've been incredibly busy, but I'm looking forward to getting this uploaded and getting some more videos done. So this video will cover everything you need to know to beat Zone 3, so traps and walls, enemy patterns, mini-bosses for this zone, and then at the end we'll cover the hardest boss in the game in my opinion, and that's Deep Blues. Okay, so we're going to switch things up a bit. We're going to do traps and walls first because the floor tiles for ice and fire are absolutely fundamental to understanding how to beat Zone 3. So the layout of Zone 3 is very unique in that it's split into two halves, the hot half and the cold half. Within the hot half you'll have only hot enemies spawning and hot tiles, and in the cold half you'll only have cold enemies spawning and cold halves. So first up we have the hot tiles. These tiles will not actually damage you or do anything at all if you just walk over them, but if you spend more than one beat on them, such as by standing still, you will take damage. This also applies if you attack enemies on the tile, you'll take one full heart of damage. However, this can be negated by the Explorer's Boots, which allow you to stand on them with no effect. It also allows you to attack enemies with no effect. The Winged Boots allows you to fly over all of the tiles, which completely negates their effect, and the Glass Slippers also do the same thing. Now for the cold tiles. These tiles are slippery and will keep you going in whatever direction you approach the tiles from until you reach the end of the ice tiles. This can be very annoying as you can't do any action whilst you're on the tiles, and if you press another key whilst you're sliding, you will lose the beat. So it's important that as soon as you enter an ice tile, you just let go until you reach the end of the tiles and then you start moving again. This can be negated by the spiked boots, the lead boots. These will allow you to walk on ice with no problems, as will the winged boots and the glass slippers. However, the explorer's boots will, unlike the hot tiles, do nothing here. So with that in mind, let's tackle the low threat enemies. Okay, our first enemy in the low threat tier is the White Skeleton Knight. Now this might seem like an odd choice for the low threat because they are actually very annoying, but I've put the higher versions of this enemy in the higher tiers, so for the sake of continuity with my usual method of doing this, I've put him in the low tier. So the White Skeleton Knight moves every beat, and upon receiving damage it transforms into a shielded skeleton from Zone 2, and then when you break the shield of the skeleton, it becomes a regular skeleton from Zone 1, so it's quite a lot to deal with here. So they begin by moving every beat, so what you need to do is sync up yourself if you're using the dagger, so that you're in the correct parity with the skeleton knight. So if you notice that you're one tile away, then you need to stall a beat by using a wall or any other means, or if you have a two-range weapon then this should be fine. And then after that you can just use the same methods from the Zone 2 video to take out the skeleton knight, so either go around to the side of them or knock their shield off and then wait a beat and then kill the normal skeleton like that. You can also trap the skeleton against a wall and hit it twice. This first one will take it off knock it off the horse, and then the second one will kill the skeleton from the side, so you only need 2 hits to kill it like this. Next in the low threat we have the Ice Elemental. Now, the Ice Elemental moves every 3 beats and will leave a trail of ice behind it. So ideally you want to take these out pretty soon so that the floor doesn't get completely surrounded in ice. These have 2 hits of health, so if you're using a regular dagger with 1 damage you just need to hit it twice. It's actually fairly easy to sync yourself up with the Ice Elemental because it moves every 3 beats, so all you have to do is just dance around next to it back and forth until it lines up with you and then hit it twice. So even if you're desynced with parity, all you need to do is just keep attacking because it doesn't matter how you're synced up, hitting 2 hits will not give it enough time to actually hit you before you kill it. Just bear in mind not to attack it whilst you're on the ice trails because you're not able to attack, so try and stay clear of the ice tiles that they create and you should be perfectly fine. The fire equivalent of the Ice Elemental is the Fire Elemental. Big surprise. Now this elemental is exactly the same as the Ice Elemental, except it leaves a path of hot tiles behind it. So as with the Ice Elemental, stay off the hot tiles and sync yourself up just by moving back and forth next to it until you're lined up. and then you can just hit it twice and it will not have any chance to attack you back. So really one of the less threatening enemies. Just make sure you prioritize them in a real zone playthrough, so your floor isn't just covered in hot tiles. It's not fun to deal with. Real quick, if you guys are enjoying this video, please consider subscribing. Only a small proportion of those who watch my videos are actually subscribed, and it would help me grow this channel and spread these tips to more people. Thank you. Next we have the Shove Monster. This enemy is fairly unthreatening because it can't actually deal damage by itself. All it can do is push you into walls or other enemies and deal damage that way. It only has 2 HP, and so all you have to do is literally attack it twice. If you're desynced with it, it doesn't matter, because if you move towards it, then you will actually just sync up with it naturally, it won't damage you. And if you do find that you're getting a bit close to walls, all you have to do is move around it and just keep attacking. Keep dodging basically. But as long as this enemy is in an open space, you won't have any trouble dealing with it. The only time they can be really threatening is in a full zone playthrough. There's lots and lots of enemies around, and they tend to be the first ones to run towards you because they move every beat. But the thing is, even if they do hit you, they only do half a heart of damage, so they are very unthreatening. Just take them out quickly before the other enemies get in the way. Now we have another low threat enemy. This is the Ice Cauldron Mimic. This Mimic enemy looks exactly like the Ice Cauldrons from Zone 3, except you can see they just sort of tend to bounce up and down a little bit, so keep an eye out for that. And as with all the other Mimic enemies, you cannot move towards them and attack immediately. You need to just move towards them and then move back one time at least before you can attack it safely. The Ice Cauldron Mimic will drop an ice tile when you kill it. This generally isn't too consequential because it is just the one, it doesn't create a trail like the ice elementals. Often you can just ignore this enemy because it won't come and kill you. All it will do is just sit there until you go near it. But if you do want to go and kill it, then just make sure, move towards it and then move back and attack it once. And the fire equivalent is the Fire Cauldron Mimic. This is exactly the same, except it leaves a trail of fire at the end. Once again, not a particularly consequential enemy. Just move towards it and then away in any direction, and it will follow you one beat at a time. And then you can attack it safely. It only has 1 HP, so it will always die immediately. As with the Ice Mimic, you can just avoid it. Just make sure that you don't stand on a hot tile when you kill it. That's about it. And with that, we're on to the medium threat enemies. First up, we have the Ice Slime. The Ice Slime is one of the more complicated slime enemies in this game. It moves in a clockwise diagonal pattern. This means that it can be a bit hard to keep track of where it's going to go, but the best way that I've found to take care of it is to move into one of the corner spaces so that it will never attack you. And this also means it doesn't matter which parity you have, if you're synced up with it or not, because either you're synced up and you hit it on one side, or it's the other side. So if you stand in the corner, you'll always have some way to hit it if you just move up and down and sync yourself up. Another way is to stand at the edges of one of its movement patterns. This I don't like as much because you do need to be synced up correctly, but if you just focus on one spot that it's landing in, then all you have to do is just check if you're synced up. If you're not synced up, then go and stall with either the war drum or a wall. The only reason I put these guys in the medium tier is because they can be a bit confusing and they deal 1.5 hearts of damage, so they can be quite bad, but generally you can just avoid them. They only ever go in that pattern, so yeah. Now we have the equivalent fire slimes. These guys will move in an anti-clockwise direction, and they move in exactly the same way otherwise to the ice slimes. So same as with the ice slimes, just stand in the corner, move up and down until it is either to the side of you or on above you or below you, and then you can just attack it and it will leave a hot tile where you kill it. This isn't too bad as with the ice slime, but they do deal 1.5 hearts of damage, so try not to get in the way. As long as you focus on a particular tile that it's landing on, and then just make sure you don't enter its sort of diagonal path, you can never get hit, so they're not too bad, but yeah, just focus on that spot and then sync yourself up, or stand in the corner, which is my preferred strategy, and you'll be fine. Okay, another medium threat enemy, we now have the Hellhound. This enemy has 1 HP, moves every other beat, but it can move diagonally. It also drops a hot tile on being defeated. These guys aren't too bad, but they can sort of scare you out of nowhere if you destroy a wall in the middle of the zone and then it just suddenly peeks out and comes and kills you. The best way to deal with these is probably move side to side and it will move in a straight line. Or you can just move up and down, and then when it syncs up, you can attack it. Very similar to how you might take care of a skeleton. You just need to watch out for the diagonal movement and for the hot tiles that they create on death. Try not to get yourself trapped into a wall as well, because sometimes it can be harder to avoid the diagonal movement. Other than that, they're not too bad. Just practice the diagonal patterns and you'll be fine. We now have another spirit enemy. The Zone 3 version is called the Ghast. It moves every beat as with the other spirits, and it's very similar to the Zone 2 white enemy, but this time, instead of just dying when you hit it, it flips to the other side of you, and then you can kill it. So this can be a bit tricky to get used to, but as long as you remember that that's what's going to happen, you can expect it, and it's not too bad. It's important to note as well that the Ghast can phase through walls, and this can be especially annoying if you accidentally flip it into a wall. If you try and dig the tile where the white is inside, you won't be able to damage it, so you need to move away from the wall first. But yeah, try and attack it in an open area, and remember that it's going to flip behind you, and yeah, that's all. Okay, another tough enemy. This is the green skeleton knight. As with the white skeleton knight, it moves every beat. However, it doesn't change the health of the horse that's it's riding, so it still only takes 1 damage to destroy the horse, but instead of spawning a white shielded skeleton, it's a yellow shielded skeleton. You can still attack this with the same technique that I showed with the white skeleton knight, where you lean it up against a wall and then just hit it twice to first to knock it off the horse, and then a second time to pop the head off the shielded skeleton. And then if you want to kill the corpse, you can. That's 3 hits in total. Not too bad. So you need to make sure that you're synced up correctly. So if you find that there's one tile in between you when you're moving around, that just means that you need to stall using a wall or some other method, and then you can hit the skeleton and go around the side of the shielded skeleton and knock it off. If you have 2 damage, you can break the shield, which isn't too bad. Just remember to sync yourself up and you'll be alright. Just be careful because they tend to rush you at the start of each level in Zone 3. It's generally the shove monsters and the skeleton knights which tend to be very tricky at the start of each level, so make sure you're prioritising them because they move every beat. Next we have an interesting but rather annoying enemy, the purple goblin. I really like his mechanic, so if you're moving towards him, he will run away from you, but when you're moving away, he'll run towards you with some daggers out, rather menacingly. So the best way to deal with this is to follow him into a corner until he gets trapped by something, and then once you're 1 beat away from him, do not walk towards him, otherwise he will attack first and attack you. You can then move away and stall 1 beat, which will sync him up with you, and then all you have to do is attack him once and he will die. If you find that the goblin is quite far away from you, you will need to stall. You can stall multiple times in a row with the walls, and then he will eventually catch up 1 beat at a time until he's 1 away from you, and then you can take care of him. Just make sure not to move towards him when he's in a corner or trapped, because he'll attack you first and you will take damage. And they do a hefty chunk of damage, 2 full hearts of damage with no shield, with no armor. So yeah, just the safest way is to take them into a corner and then move away and stall, and they'll chase after you and you can eventually take care of them. Now we have the grey shove monster, or just the shove monster. This is exactly the same as the purple shove monster, except it just has 3 HP. This does not change much at all. Just make sure you're taking care of it in a nice open area and it will not be able to do anything to you. But if you do find that you're getting close to a wall, don't panic, just move away from the wall. And to be honest, even if you do find yourself taking damage, it's still only half a heart. I don't know why they don't buff this enemy, it's so weak. It still only does half a heart, just like the lower level variant of it. But yeah, it will move towards you, it will push you in a direction. If you're not synced up, it's still not a problem because it cannot damage you. Just make sure that you don't get yourself trapped in an area where you can't move, and then it will actually start to damage you. Yeah, I guess the only thing to to mention is that they do tend to rush you at the start of the zone, so try and take care of them first so they don't push you into other enemies. They only tend to be a threat when there's other more dangerous enemies involved, so take care of them quickly and they'll be absolutely no problem. Okay, you've made it to the high threat enemies. Take a deep breath, stay calm, but there are some very tricky enemies here, so let's break them down. Okay, first up is the Black Skeleton Knight, arguably the most dangerous Zone 3 enemy. As with the other Skeleton Knights, the horse variant moves every beat, but still only takes 1 damage to knock it off the skeleton, except then you're left with the Black Shielded Skeleton, which is quite tough to deal with. So as with the other Skeleton Knights, sync yourself up when it's on the horse, but you can't use the hitting it against the wall strategy fully. You can hit it against the wall, but you will then need to move out the way because hitting it twice doesn't work, since it will move 1 beat after you hit it. So you don't have enough time to hit it twice and knock off its head. So you can hit it and then just use the same strategy from Zone 2, where you move to the side of it and attack it twice, and then its head will pop off. If you need some more practice with the Black Skeleton Knights, please check out, the Shielded Skeletons, check out my Zone 2 video where I go into a bit more detail on how you take out these enemies. Another frustrating enemy to deal with is the Yeti. This enemy moves every 4 beats and it moves forward 1 square, but in doing so creates a 3x3 grid of damaging snow tiles. This enemy is only found in the cold variant of Zone 3. When you kill it, it drops an ice tile, but the main thing is just trying to sync yourself up correctly. So what I would do is I would wait until it just uses its sort of snowball attack and then move in, and you do have plenty of time to take care of it. But it can still be very, very annoying since it moves forward and deals damage to you. It does 1.5 hearts of damage, which is quite bad. Make sure you're not stuck on a snow tile as well, because you can somehow... it's quite easy to get yourself stuck on a slippery slope, and then suddenly, before you know it, the Yeti is clapping and you are in a lot of trouble. So yeah, you can move up and down, side to side, until it's just used its attack, and you have plenty of time to run in there and kill it. Next up, another ice enemy. This is the Ice Beetle. A very, very tricky enemy to deal with. So this enemy starts out as a shielded enemy, which means you can't actually deal it any damage until you come within 1 tile of it. This isn't too bad if you're using a dagger, but if you have a 2-ranged weapon, if you try and attack it, it will actually be knocked back, and it will create a large area of ice tiles. So it has 3 HP, and it moves every 2 beats, so you need to move towards it to get it to come out of its shell, and then you can hit it once if you're synced up correctly, and then move back and attack it twice and that'll kill it. If you're not synced up correctly, then you have to move away immediately, and then you can hit it once and move back, and hit it once and move back, and so on until it's dead, or you can do the sort of 2 at a time and kill it. Yeah, you need to be careful and make sure you're synced up properly. It kind of moves the same way as a skeleton, so in the same way that you don't move towards a skeleton when it's about to attack, you don't move towards the beetle as it's about to attack. So here I'm demonstrating what you need to do with a 2-range weapon. So you'll notice that if I hit it with the spear, it will create a little grid of ice tiles, which is very annoying to deal with. So if you move in the other direction to which way it's coming towards you, so if it's coming side to side, then you need to move up and down, and this way you won't attack it until you can get it within 1 range of you. Then it will remove its shield, and then you can do the same strategy of attacking it, moving it away, and so on until you kill it. We now have the Fire Beetle, which is exactly the same as the Ice Beetle, except it produces fire tiles when it's hit, and also when it takes its shield off, it makes a fire tile on the floor. So same as with the Ice Beetle, move towards it, get it to take off its shield, and then you can hit it once and move away, and hit it again and move away until it's dead. Same as with the Ice Beetle, be careful if you have 2 ranged weapons not to hit it with the shield on, so that you don't have loads of fire tiles all over the floor. But yeah, these might take a bit of practice, so take them into the training area and just get used to getting 1 tile away and then moving away when you need to take care of it. And the final Zone 3 enemy that we're going to talk about is the Grey Goblin. This enemy, the patterns work exactly the same as the purple goblin, except it does a lot more damage. I think it does 2.5 hearts of damage, and it has 2 HP. So I think the best way to deal with it is to lure it into a corner, get it stuck, and then you can stall a beat one time, and then you can hit it, stall a beat again for the second hit, because it will hitting it will push it away, which means you then need to re-stall a beat to get him within 1 square of you if you're using the dagger. If you're using a 2-range weapon, this isn't a problem, as you can lure it into a corner and then hit it twice. Another safe strategy is to move away from it and just keep stalling beats with by getting rid of walls, for example. And one way that you don't have to deal with it moving away is if you get it stuck against a wall, like I'm demonstrating here, and then you can just hit it twice. You don't need to worry about it getting pushed back and then stalling again. And with that, we've made it to the mini-boss section. There's only a few mini-bosses to talk about that are unique to Zone 3 and beyond, so let's cover these ones. So there are some reoccurring mini-bosses that show up in Zone 3, like the Nightmare and the Dark Nightmare. There's a Red Dragon as well, and the Banshee as well from Zone 2. So if you don't know how to take care of those, please check out my previous tutorials. I'll put them in the description of this video. So we have the Blue Dragon. This enemy is very similar to the Red Dragon in its movement and health, still has 6 HP and moves every other beat, but instead of shooting a horizontal fireball, it will shoot a conical zone of frost, which freezes all enemies within it for I think approximately 4 beats, it's 3 or 4, and yeah, so the strategies are very similar to the Red Dragon. Attacking it from above and below is the safest way to deal with it because it will never use its frost attack. If you do need to be horizontal to it, there's the 2x2 grid strategy that I've shown here. Otherwise, you can just move away from it, hit it once, go below, hit it once, move back again, and so on. If you reach a wall and need to turn around, all you need to do is dance around it and then move the other way, and you can keep going, and so on. Yeah, just try and avoid getting stuck in the frost zone because it is pretty much a death sentence, especially if there's other enemies nearby. So do whatever you can to get above or below it. You can step out of the way of the conical area. It's only got a range of 3 tiles, so you can move out the way. But it does get quite wide as well, so it's easy to get trapped in that final bit right at the edge of the frost attack. But yeah, it's definitely worth practicing this enemy in the lobby practice zone. Just get used to the way the frost works because it can catch you off guard sometimes, and make sure that you're prioritizing attacking it from above or below to avoid it even using that. And with that, we've made it to the 3rd boss that I'm going to cover in this series. This is Deep Blues. I do find this to be the hardest boss because there's so many things to keep track of. So we're going to break it down piece by piece, and I'll tell you exactly how each piece moves and my best strategies for taking care of this boss. So Deep Blues is a chess boss. So if you don't know how to play chess, it's actually very, very helpful if you go and learn how all the pieces move in chess. It will help you a lot with this video because the movement of the pieces it mimics those of chess pieces. So here I'm just showcasing an example fight of this boss, just showing you how everything works with the pieces, and immediately following this I will break down each individual piece and show you how to kill each one. It's also important to note that as you get through the later zone variants of this boss, more and more of the pieces will become red. The red versions of the pieces have 2 HP, whereas the blue variants only have 1 HP. So if you have 2 damage, this doesn't make a difference, so it's actually best to just practice on the Zone 1 variant of this to learn the patterns, and then ideally try and get some extra form of damage before taking care of the boss, because it's a lot easier in the later zones if you have at least 2 damage. So let's start with the pawn. There are 8 of these on the chessboard, and they begin by moving downward 2 squares. And then after this they take 8 tiles to move down 1 more square. When they reach the end of the board, they will promote into queens, which we'll talk about later, so they are a big priority. They attack diagonally instead of forward, so if you're standing right in front of them, they can't actually attack you, but they can attack diagonally either to the left and the right, so you need to be careful of this. If you stand in front of them, you can prevent them from moving, which is a great strategy for stopping them from promoting. As you can see here, a bunch of pawns promote and create a whole line for queens, which is pretty bad news. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great, and you definitely want to take care of them before they promote. So as with the real chess set, the Deep Blues fight has 2 knights. These knights move in an L shape, so 2 tiles one direction and then 1 tile in an adjacent direction. This can definitely take a bit to get used to, and they move every 4 beats, so this is definitely one where you just have to practice, because they can cover quite a bit of distance with their movement. They can kind of come out of nowhere in really unexpected directions, so actually it can be good to stay close to them, because they can never attack you if you're nearby, only if you're far away. If you're actually 1 tile above them, they actually won't move, so if you need them to stay where they are, you can do that. My best strategy is just move towards them and hit them twice, they'll die. That way you don't have to worry about all the funky L-shaped angles. 2 knights in tandem as well can be very difficult to deal with, because the combination of their tile coverage is quite large, so it gives you very little freedom to move, and in the context of the boss fight where there's loads of things to keep track of, they can be very tricky, so I generally prioritize these to simplify the boss fight. Knights are also the only pieces which can jump over other pieces, so in some variants of the boss fight they will come out right at the start and try and harass you. Other times they will stay back a bit, so just be aware that they can actually jump over other pieces. Now we're coming to the bishops. These pieces move 1 tile diagonally, not adjacent, only ever diagonally once every 4 beats. There's 1 bishop on each type of tile, so the darker tiles and the light tiles. This means that each bishop can only ever access half the board, but when they're in combination they can be quite tricky to deal with, so make sure you're taking them separately so they don't cover way too much space. Now we have the rooks, the second most deadly enemy on the board. They move every other beat in adjacent directions. So kind of like skeletons, a bit in the way that they move every other beat, but they can't move diagonally, unlike bishops. They tend to move towards you quite quickly, so they can be quite a strong priority in the boss fight. Honestly, in Deep Blues everything's a priority. It's a very tough boss fight. But yeah, the rooks move every other beat, and in the Zone 3 variant they only have 1 HP, but here I'm showing you how to take care of them with 2 HP. So kind of similar to the way that you deal with skeletons, where you hit them, move away, or if you're synced up correctly you can actually hit them twice if they've got 2 HP and take care of them like that. Also, this is quite niche, but if you are a fan of chess, you'll notice that the rook and king can actually castle, where they swap places to get the king away from the centre and get the rook into the game. So often at the start of the boss fight this will occur, and the king will be sort of moving towards the corner and the rook will jump to the centre of the action, so just be aware that that can happen. Okay, we're nearly there. The queen is the deadliest enemy on the board. She moves every beat and can move both adjacent and diagonally. So the best way to take care of her is to move away from her, and if you move to the side, you can actually sync up with her until she's 1 beat away from you. If it's a blue queen, you just have to hit her once and she'll die. A red queen, you'll need to hit once and then move to the side, which will realign her, and then you can hit her again. Pawns will promote into queens, which when in a group can be very deadly, but they are possible to sync up in a line. So if they're horizontal, you need to move vertically, which will sync them up. If you move horizontally with a horizontal line of queens, they're very difficult to sync up in a line. If you do get them into a line, as I'm showing here, you can just hit them one after the other. They won't be able to move back because they're stuck. And then with the last one, all you have to do is hit it, and then you can move to the side. And yeah, so they deal 1.5 hearts of damage, so very dangerous enemies. Just be careful at the start of the boss fight, because they'll try and jump out and deal a lot of damage. So that just leaves us with the king. The king does nothing at first until all the other pieces have been destroyed. From Zone 3 onwards he has 5 HP, before that he has 3 and I think 4 in Zone 2. The king moves exactly how the queen does, and will move every beat and can move diagonally. So all you need to do is hit the king, move to the side, hit the king again, and you can just go back and forth until he's dead. So once all the other pieces are gone, the boss fight is really easy. just kill the king by attacking it, moving, attacking and moving, and yeah, not a problem. Putting that all together, I've turned on no beat mode, so I can just show you in more detail what's exactly happening. So there we had the G pawn moving, and then all the pieces move in sequence. I'm now making sure to take care of the queen, and in the meantime I'm using the free beats to kill some pawns because I don't want them to promote. Now seeing that the knight's approaching, so I can take care of that. Then the bishop, the rooks are coming towards me, but I'd rather kill the pawns so they don't promote. And then I can use that spare beat to kill the rook and just about stop the pawn from promoting. That just leaves the king, so we can attack side to side. Oops, made a mistake there. But yeah, not too bad. And because there are 16 different pawn variants, here's another one. So the D pawn moved there first, making sure to move back when the queen approaches. I can then take care of that. Now I'll move on to the knight. I moved into the centre here, which was a bit dangerous, and the bishop was about to kill me. I'm taking care of the rooks one at a time. I'm prioritising the pawns over the bishops, and I'm trying to stop the pawns, but I can't stop them all. So there the queens are approaching vertically, so I moved horizontally, and now we can take care of the king. So I know it's a lot to take in, feel free to go back and rewatch that. But here's another variant, so the knight jumped out first, now we'll take care of the queen. I really like this variant because you can take care of lots of pawns. Yeah, so just trying to prioritise the pawns that promote, and then whenever I have free beats I'm taking care of the other pieces, and now it's a nice easy king kill, and there we go. So let's put it all into practice with the beat. So I like to start on the left side here of the entrance, which is the C file. I've noticed that the pawns are coming out first and I need to move back, keeping an eye on the diagonal attacks of the pawns. Now I'm moving away from the rook so that he doesn't kill me. I'm prioritising the pawns here again because I really don't want them to promote, but it looks like two of them might do it here. Yes, so we just have one promoting there. The queen is by far the biggest priority, so we take care of her first and then go back and finish off the rest of the pawns. And after that it's a nice easy king kill, hitting, moving to the side, and then that's done. We now have a few traps that are unique to Zone 3. So first we have the rotating spring trap. I feel like I don't see this one very often, but it's exactly like a spring trap, except it rotates every beat and will spring you in a new direction based on which direction it's currently facing. Then we have the confusion trap. This one is deadly. So when you step on it, it will give you 8 beats of confusion, which mirrors your inputs. So if you're pressing up, you'll go down. If you're pressing left, you'll go right, and so on. Then we have the teleport trap. It looks like a little square, and it will teleport you to a random location within the level. So ideally avoid these because it can obviously teleport you into a group of enemies. It can even teleport you near a confusion trap, which has a little dot in the centre of it. So enemies can also use these traps, so just be aware of that. It can result in some unfavourable outcomes if enemies are suddenly teleported towards you, or moving in a way that you're not expecting them to if they're confused. And that's all you need to know to beat Zone 3. So let's put it all into practice with a playthrough. So, Zone 3 has a very open environment, and that means that lots of enemies can randomly come and kill you out of nowhere. So the Nightmare was doing its great job of hiding that skeleton. Now I have a lot of goblins here, so I'm just going to stall until they're nearby, and then I can kill them both. And I know that the exit must be below because that's where the mini-boss came from. Just remembering to use the diagonal strategy to kill these slimes. Here comes an ice elemental, so I'm going to take care of that quickly, and then behind it is a shove monster, not causing too many threats. And so there I was desynced from the skeleton knight, but I knocked the skeleton onto a teleport trap, then had to take care of a yeti carefully and a skeleton knight, a shield skeleton. Now we're on the next level. 2 skeleton knights approaching me, so I just take care of them one at a time, knock them off their horses, and then take care of the green shielded skeletons. We've got some shove monsters now, not a problem. Yeti, I have enough time to go up and kill it. I now see that a goblin has become trapped, and but before that one of the spirits has appeared, so I remembered to attack above and then below so it flips round. Taking care of another shove monster, and just going to knock the skeleton rider off his horse and then kill the shielded skeleton. We've got a beetle approaching, but importantly first is a banshee, so we'll knock it against the wall and hit it 3 times, and unsheath the beetle and kill the yeti. These 2 slimes are blocking up the exit, and I'll just demonstrate how you can kill these goblins. So the 2 health goblin got trapped behind the first goblin, so I can hit it twice. Now we're in the final zone, so 3-3, very fast tempo, shove monsters, not a problem taking care of them first. We've got 2 yetis coming towards us, which is very deadly, so I'm going to just make sure that I can safely take care of them and then move in when they're not attacking. So a little bit tricky to deal with there. I see that we've got a goblin approaching, and out of nowhere there's a skeleton knight, so I'll hit it once and then move away. Ice elementals don't care about traps, so that's not going to be a problem. This is a horrible situation, so we'll take it one at a time with the shove monster, and then we'll release the skeleton, do the same strategy, which gives me just about enough time to get the beetle out of its shell and then attack it again. Remembering the corner strategy for the slime, and then trapping the goblin, releasing him. So we've got a Minotaur again, not a difficult enemy. If you need to learn how to take care of him, it's in a previous video. I'm not going to try and get that leprechaun, he's just way too far away, so I'm going to lead this beetle away since it moves faster than the yeti. That way I won't get killed while I'm taking care of the beetle. And kill those 2 slimes like that, and that takes us to the Deep Blues fight. So putting it into practice, here we go. So I'm going to start on the C file, and the knight comes out. I'm getting ready for the queen. I'll stall a beat and kill that. Take care of some pawns, get a rook while we're at it. Accidentally lost the beat there. And then we'll move out of the way of the bishop, and it looks like 2 pawns are going to promote. So I'm going to move away from them, get them all lined up, and then hit the queen to move to the side. Then we've got the king, nice and simple. Hit him away and move to the side. And that's Deep Blues. And that wraps up this video. A bit of a longer one, but there's a lot to discuss for Zone 3. Once again, very sorry for how long it took me to upload this video. They do take a lot of time, but thank you for your patience, and thank you for the recent support that I've got. It really means a lot to read your comments and to see all the engagement. So thank you very much. If you have enjoyed this video, please drop a like. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. And yeah, if you want to leave a comment suggesting anything I can do for a future video or anything you'd like to see, please let me know. I do read all of the comments and I respond to them as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.